one of the questions that a lot of you ask is, Tiffany, where are you? Where have you been? So a lot of you get to hear me each week on Native Land Pod, but I was also traveling all over the country. So if you watch that, then you know I was at the DNC in Chicago this year. And I have to say, watching one of our own take that stage, it was just a wonderful experience to be part of. Many of you may be familiar with Win with Black Women, this wonderful organization helmed by Joteka Edie. Maybe some of you were among the 44,000 people who were on that initial call to help raise money and funds for Vice President Harris. And so connecting with those women in real life and being surrounded by my sisters as a Black woman is poised to lead this country for the first time, it was such an amazing spiritual experience for me. I'm so just enthralled with Black women, the way that we continue to show up despite all of our hurt, all of our pain, despite everything this country has done to us, how we show up every time and save America from herself. It was so great to have my spirit elevated. It felt like before that there was this collective depression, quite honestly, this failing democracy, and we were being attacked on every front. And so it really did collectively lift a lot of our spirits. But listen, revolutions are messy, right? And so one of the things that I noticed at the DNC, it was a lot of protest surrounding the DNC about what's happening in Gaza and Israel's war with Hamas. And so there was a night where I stopped and I stood there because I wanted to hear their protest, and hearing these protesters read the names, the many, many names, over 40,000 deaths at this point. These particular protesters just focused on the children who have been killed by the IDF in Gaza. I have to say, it was so heartbreaking. And so as a Black woman, I'm torn because I'm in this celebratory mode after our own oppression, our own violence and hostile oppression here, to see someone who looks like me take the helm of a country that is also funding something that I morally cannot support across the sea in Gaza, in Middle East. It was just, it's the duality of our kind. It's a terrain that we have to navigate. And so as we bear witness and participate in this revolution, I am perfectly prepared to hold our leaders accountable and always be on the right side of history, but also stand in goodness and righteousness and do what's right. So seeing that juxtaposition at the DNC, I have to say, it did bring me pause, and it probably brings a lot of you pause out there. I am still supporting Vice President Harris. I've taken to calling her President-elect Harris because I am committed that it will happen. Yet we do have to hold this administration accountable for how we show up here when it comes to domestic policy, and most certainly when it comes to our foreign policy. So I'm an enthusiastic voter this November. I hope many of you are as well. But we don't plan on being quiet about what's good and what's right. And I take note of a lot of things happening across. I don't want you all to think that because I heard the protesters on what's happening in Gaza that I'm not as empathetic and connected to what's happening in Sudan or what's happening in Nigeria and what's happening in Kenya. There are plenty of hotbeds of strife and discord on the continent where our ancestors are from, and I take a deep vested interest in that as well. So a lot happening in the globe. So this is why this space is so important to me, because we do deserve those moments where we can just come together and lock arms and hold hands and chain a soul just to connect with each other and remember our own humanity. So thank you for being curious about what I've been doing, but that's just some of the things that I've been doing, and the DNC was definitely a highlight from the summer. I do want to talk about something else, though, because we weren't on the air, and I didn't get the chance to talk about this with you guys, and that is the debate. I know it's a few weeks after the debate, but if you're like me, you may still be riding high. When Michelle Obama, our forever FLOTUS, Michelle Obama spoke at the DNC, and we saw the contrast between where she was at one point when she said, when they go low, we go high. And I think this year she came out and said, F that, I got something to say. And it just energized us in such a way. And you saw that same energy with Vice President Harris when she took that stage, marched across that stage, and shook Donald Trump's hand and looked him in the eye like a black woman can and said, let's have a good debate. She immediately took control as the adult that she is. And one thing that I found so incredibly, I guess, frustrating, but also so very American, is that this incredibly accomplished woman was on the stage opposite this ill-equipped, politically inept man. She has never lost an election. She is one of the most qualified candidates that we have ever had for president of the United States. And she's sitting across from a former reality TV star and failed businessman with not one, not two, but 3 baby mamas. Now, ask me how we might be looking at this black woman had those roles been reversed. If she had 3 baby daddies out there, if she had declared bankruptcy, if she had multiple failures in her business, had she made racist comments about white people, she would not get to have footing on that stage. Yet you saw these two stand there on equal footing. The fact that there are still at least 75 million people who are supporting this president shows that we have such work to do in this country, and disproportionately that work falls to us. I just thought on that debate stage we saw a different Kamala Harris. I had the privilege to share a stage with her in 2019. I've spoken with her publicly and privately, and I think it's so long past due that we normalize what black women's leadership looks like. And she's doing that. I mean, she's got the wind at her back. I mean, she's in her bag, as the young folks say. And I'm thrilled to see it. I know a lot of people wanted her to go hard. I certainly did. I wanted her to go hard on that debate stage. But what I would say about that is we have to remember when, as Vice President Harris, hopefully soon to be President Harris, when she speaks, she is not just speaking to the people in that room. She's also not just speaking to America. She is on the global stage. She is speaking to President Xi of China. She is speaking to Modi of India. She is speaking to all kind of global leaders across this country. And she had to show that she's the adult. And, I thought she did that beautifully, quite frankly. So I was impressed with her performance, and I thought she hit every note that she needed to hit. And the thing is, it's an unfair pressure on her, because not only is she the candidate, but she has to be someone who operates as a journalist, because our media is failing us. She has to inform constituents because cable news hosts are failing us. She has to be a campaigner on that stage and make her compelling case. I love that it was no audience and that you just heard from her. I think an audience probably would have, I think clowns need an audience. You need somebody to dance for. And I think leaders can command a room, whether there's somebody in it or not. So I thought she just did a great job. So I know we're late. I know you all talked about the debate, but a lot of you all asked how I felt about it. So that's how I felt about it. I'm excited. I'm enthusiastic about what November brings. I do wonder if the debate or the election rather will be decided that night. There are a lot of, we may go to the courts. We may have some discord in some of these municipalities. Georgia is now decidedly a purple state. So, and we see the cheating attempting to happen. The election board here has made it okay for anyone to challenge a ballot. So hopefully it will be a decisive victory where we won't have any of those issues. So you guys tell me what you think. I will tell you there is no hotel in DC. Everything is booked. And so Joteka Edie, like we said, who runs Winning with Black Women, she has given people a charge. And she said, if you have a hotel room booked for inauguration, but you ain't registered nobody to vote, then you got to get your priorities together. You got work to do. So I'll leave that topic on that note. Arrive with 5. And I hope that you all will be just as enthusiastic to cast the first vote for a Black woman president as I am.